For today's assignment, and in every assignment, especially during class, when I tell you to go to Google Classroom, make sure that you stay in the stream and not classwork. In today's assignment, we're going to start here at the top. And the first thing I want you to do is download these three images. So I'm going to click on this image. Notice that when you go in this screen, you can't actually download it. So I'm going to tap on these three dots over here on the right-hand side and select Open in New Tab. And from here, you can see the choice. You can either go File, Download, or just click this little button right here. And this will download it to your Downloads folder on your laptop. I'm going to close this window. And then instead of closing this tab, tap the X right here to close this window. I'm also going to download the drone operator the same way. Tap on these three dots, Open in New Tab. Click the download button, and it will save it to your Downloads folder. I'm going to close this tab. Click the X over here to close this window and download the drone. Tap the three dots, Open in New Tab, and then tap this Downloads button. I can close this window. Tap the X here to close this window. And on this one, I'm going to tap on Photopea. This is going to open up a Photopea document that I've already set up. And you'll note that the name on this document includes these numbers, 1600 x 2000. What that is that's the dimensions of this image. So it's 1600 pixels wide and 2000 pixels tall. First thing I'm going to do is change the name of the file by double tapping on the file name on this tab. When you double tap it, this window pops up, and I can select the text that says 1600 by 2000 and delete it. Then I'm going to tap on the left arrow on the keyboard to go one character over and type in the number 2. Tap it one more over to the right and put my first initial and last name. Notice that the first initial is a lowercase letter or a small letter, and then I'm going to spell out my last name beginning with an uppercase letter and no spaces. Then I'm going to put number 4 that represents what grade I'm in, the letter P, and the number 2, which would represent a 7th grader in period 2, and then click OK. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up those other images that I downloaded from Google Classroom by clicking on the File menu or tapping on the File menu. Select Open. And then when this dialog box comes up, I'm going to tap on the Downloads folder on the left here. Tap this grid so that you can see a preview of the images. And then I'm going to select this image, and holding the Control key down, I'm going to tap the other two images and it will open all three at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste those images into the T-shirt tab over here. The quickest way to do this is to hold the Control key down, tap the letter A, and it will select the entire image. Then I'm going to hold the Control key down again and tap the letter C to copy it. Go over here to the T-shirt window, hold the Control key down and tap the letter V. And it pastes that image in as a separate layer. Sometimes it'll paste it into the background, and so this will say background. If that happens, you can unlock this by tapping that little icon on the right, and then you can access and alter this image. So I'm going to go back here to this tab and close it. And then I only want the black part of this image. I want it to be transparent in the background. So to get rid of the white, I'm going to go up here to the menu and select, in the Select menu, Color Range. Just to make sure that you're selecting the correct thing. Notice how this is black and this is white, but over here, it's white here and black here. To change it so that it selects the background, I'm going to tap over here in this white area of the screen, and it's going to reverse those two colors here. I'm going to tap OK. And you know which area is selected because you can see this dotted line that goes around the image. It's called a marquee, just like a marquee at a movie theater. I'm going to tap the backspace key on the keyboard, and it's going to make everything that was selected a moment ago disappear. And then since I want the entire picture, again, I'm going to hold the Control key down and tap the letter A to select the entire picture, copy it by holding the Control key down and tapping the letter C, going back to my T-shirt window and pasting it in here with Control V. And then I'm going to do the same operation for the drone. Using the Select menu, Color Range. Just to be sure, I'm going to tap on the white area, tap OK, hit the backspace key on my keyboard to delete the background. To select the entire image, hold the Control key down and tap the letter A. Copy it with Control C. Click on this window and paste it in with Control V. Now I can close this window, and I don't need to save it because I've saved it on my layered file. And I can close this window, and also no need to save it. Sometimes when you're working on files like this, you'll have a lot of layers, and since you can't always see the image, it's always a good idea to label it. If you're wondering what's what, tap the eyeball next to the image, and it turns it on and off. It doesn't actually disappear or delete it, it just temporarily turns it off. To change this, I'm going to double tap where it says Layer 3 and type in the word drone and hit the Enter key on my keyboard. I'm going to do the same thing for the person that's controlling the drone, so I'm going to double tap here, type in controller, and enter. Since I want this image in the background to stretch out over the entire width, I'm going to select this layer. Then I'm going to go to the Edit menu, tap on Edit, go down to Transform, go to the right and all the way up here to where it says Scale. And you'll notice now that these white rectangles or squares showed up in various places. This is super important. Make sure to always enlarge or reduce by the corners so that it doesn't skew the picture. Also notice that I'm going right past the edge of the window. It's because I want the trees to frame this image. So I've pulled that one off that way. I'm going to pull this one down and to the left again until the trees are framing the picture. And then I'm going to hit the return key on my keyboard to set it in place. The next thing I want to do is I want to crop the image so there is nothing on the top and bottom. This is the cropping tool. I'm going to tap the cropping tool. Notice also that there's a keyboard command. Just the letter C by itself will also select this tool. Once again, you see the handles up here on the top and bottom, and when you're cropping, it doesn't matter if you use the middle ones or the corner ones, because it's not going to change the picture, it's just going to change the window that the picture's in. I'm going to pull this all the way up to the top of this black rectangle at the bottom. Let go there. Hit the return key on my keyboard, and now it's cropped to that space, to that area. Since I want this picture to be bigger, I can pinch the window open, but I can also hold the control key down and tap the 0 on the keyboard at the top of the keyboard. I want to hit the escape key on the top left of the keyboard. And then I'm going to move the drone up and size it down a little bit by clicking on this layer. This is the move tool at the top here on the left. I'm going to tap that and then move this up to the top of the screen. And just like we reduced the size of the background, or excuse me, increased the size of the background, I'm going to go to the Edit menu, go down to Transform, over and up to Scale. Again, stretching it from the corners, I'm going to reduce it down to fit in this space up at the top. While you're scaling it, you can also move it. So I'm just going to move the cursor into the center of this area and move it up here to the top of the screen like this. Then to set it in place, I'm going to tap the Enter key. I'm going to select the controller layer and move the person controlling the drone down to the bottom of the screen here. Still kind of central. The reason I'm being conscientious of where I'm putting things is this is all going to go inside of a circle, inside of the t-shirt template that we've already started. Now that I've got it designed the way I like it, I'm going to export this file by selecting File, Export As, and I'm going to select JPEG or JPG. When this gives me a preview, I'm going to select Save. And now it's saved it to my Downloads folder. Someone mentioned this earlier today, and I just noticed it just now. There's actually a line, very faint, right here in this t-shirt. So I'm going to zoom in by pinching open the screen. And then I'm going to use the eraser tool, which is right here, to erase that line. The quickest way to erase it, and see how it's right next to his hair right here. The quickest way to erase it is to put the eraser like this. I'm going to tap one time, and then I'm going to put it right next to where this hair is touching that line, because that's where it was on the edge of that picture. When I hold the Shift key down and tap it again, it's going to erase everything in between there and the top of his hair. I'm going to do the same thing on the right over here. Hold the Shift key down, tap, and now it's erased that line straight across. That way you don't have to worry about missing any part of it when you're erasing. So since I've made a change to this, I need to save it again. So I'm going to select File, Export as JPEG. When I save it again, since I just saved it a minute ago, it's going to ask me if I want to overwrite the other file. Or, in this case, it just added a parentheses with the number 1. That means I've got two files that are named identically on my Downloads folder. I'm going to delete the one and then change the name of this one in just a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to go back to the File menu. And this time I'm going to select Save as PSD. The important thing here is when you save it as a PSD, it will preserve the layers. So you can see the 4 layers that I've got over here, even though this one's empty. When I do File Save as PSD, I can open it up again, and I can move the images around if I need to, because they're on different layers. So you can see here's the name of the file and the difference of .psd versus .jpg. Tap Save. And now I can close this window. Tap Leave to leave the site. As soon as that window is closed, I can go to my desktop folder, which is this little blue folder here. If your desktop folder isn't here, where your Downloads folder is, you can tap on this little circle, and it will show you all of the different things that you can open on your computer. So I can tap on the files. And again, I have 2 files that are identical, except one of them has the number 1 in parentheses, and this is the newer of the 2 files. I'm going back to Google Classroom. I'm going back to the stream, and now I'm going to open up this second assignment that was the previous assignment. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and I'm going to tap the Canva link to open up Canva. The nice thing about Canva, as long as you haven't loaned your computer to someone else, is that it saves all of the files that you've worked on in Canva's storage space. So I'm going to tap on the Home button over here. And I'm going to scroll down and see the recent files that I've saved on here. We're going to open up the Drone Club t-shirt practice that we did the other day. And in order to preserve this original layout, in case you need to make changes to it later, we're going to select everything on this page. You have to tap on the page first. See that purple line that pops up? Tap the page first, and then hold the Control key down and tap the letter A to select everything on the page. I'm going to copy it all, Control C, and then I'm going to tap this button at the bottom that says Add Page and paste it in here with Command V, or Control V, excuse me. Command V is on a Macintosh computer. Then I'm going to upload the file that we just saved by tapping the Uploads button on the left. I'm going to tap Upload Files. This should take me to my Downloads folder. And this is the JPEG that I just saved from Photopea. So I'm going to tap on this and select Open. And it's going to upload that file into my Canva app over here. So now I can just click and drag this right on top of this design. Make sure when you do this, see how the circle highlights? That's when you know you've got it in the right spot. So now I've taken the new image that I just created. It's got all the pieces. It's got the city behind it. It's got the drone here and the person controlling it down here. In order to save this one to submit to Google Classroom, I'm going to tap on the Share button. I'm going to go over here and tap Download. And make sure you change this PNG to JPG. Tap the Download button. Now it's going to download that file into my Downloads folder. As soon as the download is complete, I can close this window. And I can close this window. I'm going to go back to the newest project in Google Classroom. In the stream, it's the top assignment. And I'm going to turn in both of those JPEGs that I just saved. Or I should say, I'm going to turn in the JPEG and the PSD file because I want to see that you labeled the PSD file the way I suggested. Tap Add or Create. Select File. When this window comes up, tap Browse. And here again, I can select more than one thing. I'm going to change the view to List View. I don't want the zip file. I want the PSD file. I'm going to hold the Control key down on my keyboard and also tap this file right here, which is the t-shirt design that we just created. And I'm going to open both of those. As soon as it's finished uploading, I can turn it in and select Turn In again. Now keep in mind that neither one of these nor the other one that we created the other day are your final t-shirts. This is just the practice on how to create this design from the other day. If I click on the right one, so the practice Canva assignment is the one that has the circle. That's the one that we just updated. And you'll note in here that there's a YouTube video here also. So if you forgot or weren't able to do that because you either weren't here or need to review it, you can watch this on how to do that other design. And the YouTube video for this current one that I just completed is going to be on this assignment that's at the top of the stream. So I'm going to upload this in a minute and it's going to end up right here.